Oh, perfect.
Ooh, you sound way better too.
Oh, sick. See? Headphones is the way to go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, shoot. Well, you just said that you're doing like a shoot for Lumen brand.
Yep. Got a friend of mine who is in a band. She does a lot of modeling. She's like their lead singer. She's a really good looking girl.
Sounds good.
I had her do some of the modeling for us, and there's a photographer that works for a magazine called Alt Press. So they do a lot with like punk and hardcore bands and stuff like that. They're based out of Cleveland. So she, the model, is best friends with this photographer. And then one of the other models I wanted to use is actually also best friends with the photographer. So it kind of just worked out. And they all came down to Columbus yesterday. We shot pretty much all day. And then about an hour or two, we're going to go out and shoot the rest of today too.
Sick.
So pretty hyped. Gonna take it a little more seriously this time around. Not that I didn't take it seriously before, but as in like, instead of me doing the photography, I'm paying a photographer. So it's just on like a higher level, like just doing a little bit more. There's a couple stores here that want stuff. So I'm gonna produce some stuff for a couple stores and
for sure. But I was gonna say, because like Lumen was more like blading related in the past, so I'm guessing Brigade kind of took that.
Yeah, and that's also kind of the reason I wanted to do Brigade was I never wanted Lumen to be involved with blading specifically. It was just that so many of my friends, rollerblade, and they were hyped on the clothes and loved the logos and wore it all the time, and I had opportunities to like have a booth at Bitter Cold and things like that. So just kind of ended up that, so many bladers loved it. But the response that I got for Lumen in kind of like the punk and hardcore scenes, like Warped Tour and things like that, was massive. So I figured, my friends are going to support no matter what because they dig it and they're the homies. But to go that route too, that's a route that is a whole another section of people. That's a massive market that dig it, and that's stuff that I'm into. So plus with Brigade too, it's one of those things where it's a strictly blading brand. Yeah. So we can do strictly just blade stuff for it, and that's, I don't know, that kind of makes it more fun because they're like two separate entities.
Huh. Yeah, that's a smart move, I'd say. But yeah,
it's something I think that needed to be done in our space anyway. So I don't know if you saw that recent BMAG interview I did. I think you and I kind of talked about it, but just the fact there's nobody doing constant stuff. Yeah. And I get it because it is blading. It's, we don't have a massive industry where people can do huge lines and sell out of lines because there's so many people buying them. But that doesn't mean you can't constantly do stuff with your brand and constantly put out product, even if it's a small amount at a time.
Sure.
You see people put out one or two shirts and they die off for a year. Yeah. And then come back with one or two shirts. Or something like Blackjack, where I love Blackjack.
Me too.
Blackjack's sick as fuck.
Tim's sick.
It's impossible to get in the U.S.
Yeah.
Unless you drop $40, and we all know rollerbladers aren't going to drop $40 on a shirt.
Nah.
Which sucks because I love their shit. Their branding's on point. They got a good team.
I think a shop carries them in the States, don't they? Oak City did
for a while. I got some of their stuff from Intuition actually.
Oh, sick!
But it's tough. I mean, shops, it's and I'm dealing with this with Brigade too. Is I've got international orders coming in, and with USPS they either get lost or it's like $30 to ship 2 shirts.
Yep.
I mean, you probably have dealt with that with going back and forth from home to where you're at.
Yeah. I'm still dealing with that, yo. Like, literally, like, I got some antis coming in from Moonshine, and I also had, like, I won one, like, what is that shit? Like that ground control Christmas thing. Mm-hmm. But because my ass is, like,
remember those?
I wasn't very patient, and, because, like, I'm pretty sure it was Jeff Eggers. I don't know who I was talking to, but he was like, damn, you're in Denmark? I'm like, yeah, bro. I was like, I don't know. They weren't trying to pay that postage, but like, I feel them though, because it's free, So
yeah,
I told him like, send it to my mom's and then she's going to send it to me. And he was like, all right, just do that. He said, or you can wait until it gets to Europe and then we'll have a Europe shop ship it out to you.
Ooh.
But me,
international shipping in general is a bitch.
True. But I didn't do that,
everything.
Dude. Yeah, but like for me, like my mom had just sent me like a Christmas present, so I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna send it to her. I had to send it to her job though, because if I I live in Long Beach, so shit's kind of crazy sometimes. But it's like people rob our mailbox.
Stolen off the porch.
Yeah. I actually bought ground control Bigs in August. And I went back to Cali to go pick them up. My mom's like, that package never made it. Like, it says delivered, so somebody definitely robbed the mailbox.
Yep, that happens.
Yeah, so, I mean, I sent it to her job, and she was supposed to mail it off, but she just, like, I don't know. I think financially, and she doesn't, like, my mom doesn't have PayPal or internet.
Yeah, it's wild. When I was getting Brigade started, preparing for international stuff, I went to all the shipping carriers, and it's insanity through all of them. There's no good way around it.
No, it's expensive.
So, and that's kind of what I was seeing was, even dirt box, like it's insanely expensive to even ship to the UK. So the fact that we didn't have anything in the US that was making constant cool stuff, and having a team and, making edits and doing all that.
Yeah.
Blading needed something like that. So, and I'm not saying that by any means that everybody is going to like or should like Brigade. Everybody's into their own different style of things, but that's also, if you see something in a space that needs to be done, then do it yourself. I had a kid message me that said, why don't any of your shirts say rollerblading on them? And I said, well, how many skateboard brands that are clothing brands that you see everybody wearing scream skateboarding on them?
That's a weird question.
It's just rad looking clothes that go with that sport.
Yeah.
And I said, if you want to see a bunch of shirts that say rollerblading on it, why don't you go do that?
Yeah.
I said, if that's something that you want that's missing in your space, do it. Instead of bitching or talking shit on companies that are doing something different because it's not what you want.
Yeah.
Do your own thing. Make it happen. That's kind of what I did with Brigade. I didn't see anything in our space, so I did it.
Fair enough. I agree with that 120%. But, man, are you printing your own shirts?
I have a dude in Buffalo that I actually grew up skating with. He runs a really rad and really popular print shop.
Is it Justin Howard?
Yeah, it is Justin. Yeah, Justin runs Positive Approach, and they do a lot of stuff for hardcore bands. They do a lot of stuff for streetwear brands, and a lot of the stuff they do is they try to not use chemicals. If you can and want to, they have a lot of like organic cotton options. So
I've been there.
Yeah, that's just even their shop. Like they have like a little storefront is just on point. So when I first did Lumen, back in 2012 was the first time I started it. I went through him, and he always talked about how he always wanted to, print a blade brand because, how is he ever going to print a blade brand,
Yeah.
So he was always hyped to do Lumen because at least it was a homie of his that had something to do and do with what he was involved with, and he dug it. So when I started doing Brigade, he was like, oh, hell yeah, like that's really cool that you're going to do both. So when I send a lot of the bands that I work for, that I do design work for, I try to send to him. Anytime I have people that are like, hey, like, do you know anybody that print shirts? I always send them towards him because they do an awesome job. So I've always done stuff through him because that's the dude. I've known him for a long time.
So wait, random question, but I never really know, but where exactly are you from? Because I don't think you're from.
I'm from about an hour south of Rochester, New York.
Oh,
I grew up in a small, tiny little town. We had 2 stoplights. My graduating class was like 120 people. So I knew everybody from like 8th grade all the way up to like the 3 classes that graduated before us. So everybody knew everybody's business, and, a lot of people don't really get out of our area.
Yeah.
Or they'll go up to Rochester or Buffalo because in their eyes, those are like the big cities.
Yeah.
So I got lucky because when I started skating at 14, 15, my dad drove me to Philly and drove me to Rochester every weekend.
Sick.
So I got to kind of see and experience cities and people that I wouldn't have normally gotten to experience growing up where I grew up. So if I had like stayed the path and, played basketball or soccer or any of the other things I did, I may not have gotten to go and, travel to Philly and Cleveland and Rochester and all these places. So I knew that I always wanted to do design work or stuff with clothing companies growing up. So I ended up doing going to the Art Institute, and I was looking in Philly and Pittsburgh. And when I visited the one in Pittsburgh, it was kind of like game over. Because when you pull into that city, I don't know if you've ever seen Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh,
there's
maybe.
like a famous scene in the book that they redid in the movie where they're like going through the tunnel, and then when you come out of the tunnel, you're just like in the city, and the city is just like super in your face. So kind of experiencing that for that first time, I was like, damn, I want to, this is where I want to live. Growing up in a small ass town, I want to live in a cool big city like that. So stayed there for 5 years, and then moved to North Carolina for a little bit.
I
and then
remember
after
that,
back to Pittsburgh, and then went to Baltimore, and now I'm in Columbus.
Damn, why are you moving around so much?
Dude, it's been every single year since I was 17. Every single year I've moved. So even if I was in the same city, I moved to a different neighborhood or apartment.
Trippy.
So yeah, and then there was maybe I want to say like a 6 or 7 month period after I lived in Pittsburgh the last time that I was living out of my car by choice. Nothing bad happened, but I was going on so many tours with bands, either doing their merch or doing photography. And I was at a good point with my freelance work that I was just kind of like at a tour that ended in New York City. So I stayed with Sean Grossman for 2 weeks. And then I went back to Ohio and caught up with another tour, and then went down to Nashville and stayed there for a week, and then caught up with another tour and kind of just did that for a few months before I moved to Baltimore.
Sick.
So yeah, I'm all about kind of, if you don't like your situation, change it. Don't bitch about it. I guess it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the clothing company stuff too,
Yeah, a lot of people don't. They just don't figure that out. Like,
yeah, and it's not a hard thing. It's just, people are like, oh, well, I've got this, or I've got to find a job, or I don't have a car. Well, if you want to make it happen, you can make it happen. There's so many people in worse situations that have been able to do it. There's no excuse why you can't do it.
True.
So I've always gotten pretty lucky with everything in life, so I can't complain. And I'm super happy in Columbus right now after the situation I was just in for a year. Damn. So I had a job that it was supposed to be like my dream job, and it was like real cushy. Everything was paid, salary. They paid for my apartment, paid for a computer, all that. And it just ended up not being what I wanted. I was kind of like living in the middle of nowhere.
Those jobs always send you to the middle of nowhere. Dude, that's why it's always all paid, because it's in the middle of nowhere.
And they knew it. I was moving from Baltimore to the middle of nowhere, north in PA. So, but I mean, it's kind of one of those live and learn things, because if I hadn't done that, I probably wouldn't have started Brigade. I probably wouldn't have done Lumen again. And I'm at a really good point now in Columbus. I'm super happy. So kind of one of those everything happens for a reason type deals.
Sick. Isn't like Dowling out there as well?
Dowling, yeah. I just skated with him last week, which is super rad, because I've only ever gotten to like really see him at contests for 5 or 10 minutes. So getting to chill with him for a minute was rad. He's in Canton right now, which is like south of Cleveland. I think they're shooting whatever movie he's working on right now. They're shooting in like Canton and Akron, but he's trying to get a place in Cleveland. I don't blame him, because Canton and Akron is kind of close to New Philly, where James Short is from. So I know all about those areas, and they're kind of like my hometown, where it's middle of nowhere, nothing to do. Yeah. So I know he wants to be in Cleveland with the homies. But yeah, Cleveland's like 2.5 hours from here, 2 hours from here. So we're pretty close with all those dudes. And Pittsburgh's pretty close too. So it's a really good scene out here.
Sick. Yeah, I actually got to meet James Short, actually. like maybe like when he was in Cali before he went back home. Like
Yeah. When he was in LA for the contest with like Ben Schwab and stuff.
yeah, exactly. I actually got to meet him that night, and that was like the first and only time actually.
Yep, he loved that trip. I remember he was like super hyped on life and just skating and everything in general after that trip, because he had lived in Cali before. He had stayed with John Elliott and Shima and those dudes back in the day, and that's how he was kind of involved with 4x4 and stuff growing up. But I just remember him coming back, and he was like, I'm gonna go to school and probably get a film degree. And he was all hyped on life. So I think Ben helped a lot with that too. Him and Ben were kind of kindred spirits in a way that he and I kind of were too. So that was a good trip for him. I remember that very well.
Sick. That's pretty dope, man. But damn, dude, I've actually never. Every time you've been in Cali, I've been gone. I've never.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I was gonna say probably end up coming to Copenhagen.
Dude, if you come,
I'll ever see you in Cali.
Yeah, most likely. But yeah, you gotta. Copenhagen's sick, dude. Even though, like, I mean, I would like. I don't know. There's always something to do, and like people are typically like, like the younger crowd is like really sick, and there's a really cool view on blading here, I think, compared to most places. So
I feel like that's a lot of more, I don't want to say well industrialized, but a lot of bigger cities in Europe kind of have that mentality of a little bit more acceptance.
Yeah, but also it's not even about acceptance at most of the time. I think it's just about like it just has a better rep here. Like all that shit that's in the States, it just didn't really hit here. Like people are just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, the older skateboard crowd that you deal with here in the US that, they grew up on the early X Games and fuck rollerblader mentality.
Yeah,
and
but that, I mean,
pass that down.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. Like that shit's alive and well in Copenhagen. It's just like they don't do that shit to me. I've heard of it happening, but it's never happened. Like it's happened to me one time, but not necessarily directly to me. It was like a dude who I was like skating with. But I mean, it's crazy. Like I checked them, and then they were just done. Like after that, like they were just avoiding me. And when the board came near me, they were like, "Hey, sorry." Like, and I'm not used to that. Like, usually if I'm in LA and shit like that happens, it's like it gets awkward. You know what I mean? Or I don't know, but I don't know. Like at the end of the day, it like that like blading out here is a lot more accepted, I'd say. And I'm really accepted, but it just has like a better reputation. Like,
well, we always say here, but everybody here is always so jealous that there's just so many more people in general, and you can hop a train and go to another country, and the time it would take somebody here to drive across the state.
True. Yeah, it depends.
It's just a different lifestyle.
True. Yeah, like from here, I can take like a train to Sweden. I'll be there in like 25 minutes.
It's unreal.
Even though I never go to Sweden. But they do have some pretty cheap burgers there. So
don't get me started, because burgers are my favorite food.
I fucks with the burgers. I actually had a burger yesterday. That shit was pretty bomb. And right before
my roommate's always trying to hit up Wendy's when she gets drunk, and I always tell her that she needs to have a quality burger if she's craving one.
I don't know. See, I mean, Wendy's. Like I usually don't fucks with Wendy's, but a Wendy's Frosties after a session in the summer.
That's a different story.
$1. You get about 3. You finish about 2 of them, and then you give one to the homie. You know what I mean? Like that's what I usually do. Because I usually, for some reason, have odd number bills in my pocket. Like I'll have $3.
Speaking of that, is there? I've always wondered this, and I'm probably gonna experience it soon. But is there like a lot of American brands like that, kind of like fast food joints and things like that overseas?
It's coming, bro. It's coming.
Yeah.
I think
I've always wondered that, because I'm one of those guys that if I go to a city, I want to kind of experience what that city has, and like not go to. I mean, I try to eat super healthy anyway with the working out and the bodybuilding bullshit, but I always want to go to places that are specific to that city.
There's some good food out here, but
I've always wondered that if how many things are over there and how Americanized our brands kind of turned other places.
Oh no, I'll tell you right now, Copenhagen is probably one of the most Americanized places. Not really. Not really when it comes to. I can't explain it, but it's very American here. Like everybody knows what you're talking about. Everybody's seen that show. Everybody like gets the slang. You know what I mean? But like if you go anywhere else, like you can go to France or Germany or some shit, and they don't know shit half the time.
Not much.
No, but like out here, like everything that's popping in the States, people in Copenhagen know about that shit. Actually, all about. I'm pretty sure I can. Maybe somebody can vouch for me, but I'm gonna say all of Scandinavia is pretty on point with like whatever we're doing, like whatever song or whatever. What the fuck, like.
That's really tight.
Yeah, it's like it's almost running parallel. So in a way, when I'm here, I don't really feel that far away. Sometimes, like literally, I don't even have a TV.
It's a different experience, but you're not feeling out of place.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have a TV, but if I'll be at a friend's house and the TV's on and fucking AFV is playing, like
yeah, it's stuff you know.
Yeah, like Americans playing those videos and this shit's weird because I'm used to watching that shit at home. So by the time I walk out, I'm like, oh shit, I'm in Copenhagen. Like sometimes I'll forget because, yeah, I'll forget. And everyone here typically has like, an American accent from movies and videos.
Yeah,
so.
Just being into the pop culture so much.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think you'd have fun here, dude. Trust me. Like if you come from Roscoe.
I actually was just talking to my roommate about that because we're you said you were moving. We're actually looking to move into a house in May or June too.
Sick.
So, but that's one thing that I want to do this year, and it was something that I had planned on, was kind of traveling overseas more, because that's something I've wanted to do for so long, and I've got so many friends from so many countries that have always asked me to come out. And every time I talk to Kevin, he bugs me about going to Amsterdam or Paris with him. And it's after being so many places in the U.S. and realizing that Pittsburgh is a completely different world from Birmingham, Alabama. And Raleigh, North Carolina is a completely fucking different world than Detroit. And that's just in the U.S. So, and seeing stuff like that is, I've always wanted to go overseas and experience something different. So that's one of my main goals this year, was to go other places. I mean, it's not, don't speak a different language, but roommate and I booked a trip to London in October. And I've been trying to go there for God knows how long.
London's sick, dude.
I'm very excited. London was kind of one of those, if I never go, it's going to be one of those big life regrets. Yeah. So my roommate's been my best friend for almost 10 years. I met her when I first met Hawk.
Crazy.
They're both from Columbus, and she ended up messaging me before I moved here. She's like, hey, do you want to go to London sometime this year? Once you've gotten moved. I was like, well, yeah, absolutely. She's like, well, cool. I found us tickets. I bought them already. And I was like, oh, well, shit. All right, that's fine. I guess we're going. So I hit up all the dudes over there, and everybody's taking off work for that week, and it just makes me want to go more places.
Yeah, man. I would say go to. The only thing about London is, like, usually I'm pretty good with directions and where to go, but for some reason in London I get very lost.
Really?
Yeah. Like every time I go, I'm not really sure where I am, like at all.
One of the things I'm preparing myself for is that it's one of the biggest cities in the world.
It's a big ass city.
It's massive, and I was telling her, she's been there before, and I was like, comparable to New York City. She's like, obviously different feel, but yeah, it's massive. Like you're gonna go, 15, 20 minutes to the other side of the city, and it's gonna feel like a whole other city. She's been to Manchester before. She's been to Paris before. So
she already did it.
I'm the noob when it comes to world travel. So I'm pretty hyped. It's a long time coming.
For now. But I mean, eventually, like, I think the ticket prices are just gonna get cheaper and cheaper to where it'll really like bridge the gap for people who always, got bills and whatever.
I hope so. That'd be super rad. because I'm very down for a couple of dollars for a plane ticket overseas.
Dude, I've once paid.
So doable, so worth it.
Yeah, I've once paid $125 from LAX to Copenhagen.
Really?
Yeah, one way, just $125, and it was so cheap. Like I brought my bike, extra $70, because I mean I was already expecting to drop 600, so I was like,
it's cheap for that. You might as well.
Yeah, so I brought my bike and shit, and shit's still here. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean you can find some deals
at that price. That's gas to from here to Atlanta. You know.
Yeah.
So why not fly?
Yeah, definitely. No, but I was gonna say, did you see those new white Colts that they posted? I think yesterday.
I have known about those for a few months, and I'm extremely excited because a lot of people have been slowly more and more kind of turning on to what we realized. You know, it's the call, and I don't want to ever talk shit on Valo because what Valo does is rad, but I feel like a lot of people skate V13s because of the vibe and, you know, them being the cool skate as opposed to them liking this skate for how it skates. And I think people are kind of realizing that you can get a slim, affordable, cool-looking skate in the Cult, but it skates better. There's more options. Replacement parts are cheap as fuck. I think like a full sole and backslide replacement for Cults is like $25 at a skate shop. And that's super rad. So people have been kind of, you know, asking for a lot of older skates and options, and I think their best move was after releasing a couple black ones to go white. I think they look super fucking rad. So
no, they do, and it's funny because like, I mean, I actually was asking Jeff Agers, like, yo, is there any like new Colts coming out? Because I kind of wanted black, but I don't really want to. I didn't want to get them too fast because I'm like, you know, I don't like as of right now. I'm like super like I have no idea what I want to skate because I'm kind of not kind of.
Yeah, you're in that in between situation right now after Shadow.
Yeah, I'm like really over adapt right now, and
I feel like adapts are a very kind of like we were just talking about. You know, how certain people don't skate V13s because it's a skate for them, but I feel like adapts are a very I can't even think of the word for it. It's got to be a specific person who skates a specific way, which isn't a bad thing at all because, that's a niche market that's great for skating.
True.
But
I mean, it could
I feel like it's definitely a different – the way that boot is made, it's definitely for a certain person who skates a certain way, with a certain, ankle, knee situation.
Yeah, but I think adapt is for like either two types of people. I mean, from my experience, because I mean, to be honest with you, I like the skate and I like the fact that there makes it's zero sound, like zero, and that shit's really addicting. And to be honest, that might be the main reason why I continued skating them, just because I can't hear like when I land, like the sound is amazing.
Feeling of it being solid.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the most solid noise, like. And coming from Shadow, that's like, whoa, like this is a new world. Like I can't hear myself. Like this is sick. You know what I mean? But the thing is like the skate is, I mean, it has these weird pressure points. I mean, some people can skate.
It's definitely for a specific person. I mean, I remember when Brad Anthony was doing some stuff with them. Right when they were like slowly starting to ship stuff to the U.S. a couple years ago, and he had a pair, and I was like, let me try those on. I want to see what they feel like. And I was never a fan of carbons. I skated Deshies for a while, and that's kind of a different story. But I tried them on, and I could just tell immediately, that's just not my thing. I couldn't do it. So it's definitely a acquired taste, I think was the word I was looking for earlier.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna lie, like. Now I can skate them pretty well. Like I gave them a chance.
And I got used to it.
Yeah, I got used to it for sure. But like, it just gets to the point where sometimes some tricks are harder than it was before. And I actually was talking to
Valos, like the bigger boot Valos.
Yeah.
Top acid is like one of my favorite tricks and safety trick, and I could barely top acid in those. And I'm like, if I can't top acid in these, I don't know if I should be, skating these skates.
But I think adapts are for people who are kind of bored of skating. Because if you want to skate something that is different than anything else, like you won't not be entertained.
Yeah,
like,
something new and different.
Yeah, it's gonna feel weird. Like all your tricks are just gonna feel weird. And in a way that made it kind of interesting. But now I really just want to be able to go full speed and do a sweaty because
you want to be able to do what you know how to do in a comfortable manner.
Exactly, and I don't really get that from Adapt. And also, Jonas Hansen was actually asking me about him the other day, and he was like, man, you're like the guy I've known the longest to actually keep skating him. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm still not really that used to him. And he was just like, man, like, he's like, yeah, I don't want to be like a douche, but I haven't really seen that much people like progress from skating them. And I was like, oh shit, like, what have I learned in these skates? And I thought about it, I was like, damn, I haven't really learned anything. I mean, I'm kind of trying to re-get my tricks.
I'm biased, but one thing I always tell people is that the reason I switched from SLs to Cults was there's just a feeling of control that I haven't had with other skates. And maybe that's just for me. But the fact that it's, a thinner, kind of tighter skate, that backslide and that sole, the way it's set up, I mean, it's if it's not broke, don't fix it thing. Yeah, it's a 10, 15-year-old mold, but just the style and control I feel I have in those is just way better than any other skate. And I think at the time that I was switching to those from SLs, my skating was kind of changing a lot too, whether it would have been on those skates or not. And it kind of helped. So I've always obviously been a proponent of pushing the Cult and getting more people to try it if they've never tried it before, or if they skated it back in the day, giving it a try again.
Yeah. No, and also I was gonna say, but no, like no hate to Adapt though. I mean, they're good skates, and to be honest with you, I'm probably
in shadows. A certain person has to be able to skate shadow. And that's why it's good to have choices.
Yeah, like, I'm probably going to use that skate just for like, cruising the town, but I'm probably not going to do tricks in them anymore. But I actually did.
You're going to get depressed.
Yeah. No, but like I actually did try on, because like right now I'm in between either skating Vols or Razors. I'm not really sure like if it's going to be SLs or Colts, or to be honest, V13s for me were out of the question because like I didn't want to be put into that box, because I mean I already got like I already got a bunch of diggies and shit, and like as soon as you put on V13, you just like put yourself like in that I don't even know how to say it. I mean, it's fine if you are like, I still dig a lot of dudes who are doing that, but
there's people who have them that don't. It's just it's the current state of skating. I always try to compare it to the era of double XL Physic and Denial sweatpants.
I never got to see that.
TRSs with the skins open. You know what I mean? It's just, it was one of those things that's what was in at that time. That's not good. That's not bad. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
People dig that, and that's how it is. So
I kind of want to experience that just because I don't know. It just seems. I just want to see so many people wearing sweatpants like on a daily basis. Like that shit's wild. Like I never really got to experience that, because, I mean, around the time I started, that was when like I think you call it like the scene look. Like the scene look was in.
Yeah. What was your first video?
Killer Boots.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean,
you definitely came in when that era was starting.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, I'm watching like, Stockwell sections with like the metric. I'm like, yeah, this song is sick. Or watching like the Shima section with the kills. Like I used to listen to that song like in school, just like, oh man, fuck. Like, I was like, man, I kind of want to get like tighter pants, but maybe not, just because like I don't look that cool with it. I mean, if people can rock it, cool, that, but I never really rocked that shit. But I don't know.
So I always tell people, like, my first video was VG19, and I didn't see it when it came out.
Yeah.
Because a couple months after that, the kids I grew up skating with showed me opinions. And both times what hit me was Mike Elias.
Mm.
So, you know, the whole Thursday piebald, cargos, bandana, that whole thing is what turned me on to skating.
Sick.
So then, you know, me being the little MySpace emo kid that I was growing up, listening to fucking Newfound Glory and Bane and all that shit.
Nah, I used to fuck with Seosin back in the day, dude.
Yeah,
I can't even lie, bro.
Growing up in that era, you know, that was kind of my thing. And then when Forever Now and all the classic Negretti videos started coming out, I was like, wow, like, this is great. There's people that, you know, are like me that rollerblade. Because I always felt like odd man out wearing a fucking striped sweater and tight pants to the skate park while everybody else is rocking sweats.
Mm.
So that was a cool thing for me when that era hit, because I felt a little more at home, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm not the only dude that's into this.
Mm.
So I got lucky because one of the first dudes I ever met when I was 14, 15, I've been skating for a year, was Jeremy Batehall.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like one of the first dudes that I met that kind of like shaped my skating. And that whole like Caspa era was fucking awesome as a young kid, being into that shit and having those dudes be like, hey, you're into the same stuff we are, come do shit with us and do twirls.
Mm.
So that was awesome for me, especially growing up in a small town too. It's, you know, nobody was fucking wearing the shit I was wearing and rollerblading in a small town.
Yeah.
So to go into, you know, the rollerblading scene, which isn't as big, and having everybody doing other shit, meeting those guys was rad.
That's pretty sick. But I mean,
and then everybody remembers James on AIM.
Oh, I never had AIM, dude. I totally missed that.
There's so many people that I meet that, you know, they're like, oh man, like, you know, I met James at this time, or like this and that. Everybody always talks about him being on AIM. And that was one of the first times that I met him, and then he and I ended up meeting up in Ohio at Vertigo. So it was a good situation for me to meet those guys when I was young and growing up in that era and that style. I got really lucky.
Mm. Yeah, but also, like, I mean, as you know, like, I've definitely liked your skating for, like, even through your old, like, reinventing
phases.
Yeah, even like through your old phases, like you can go to your old videos where I think you were skating maybe like those RB, whatever they're called, the solos. Yeah. And like you'll see a comment that I posted like 5 years ago or some shit, like, oh, that was sick, or like whatever. But I think it's pretty sick, like, to see people like grow, and like I can definitely see like the differences in your skating now from like a couple of years ago.
It's definitely like a natural progression too. Like when I went to college, a lot of the punk and hardcore music I liked, bands either kind of fell by the wayside, or it was like that typical really fucking horrible bad like screamo bullshit that was out, you know, during MySpace.
Yeah.
So when I moved to college, I kind of found like not even EDM, but like the kind of like 80s electro shit.
New
and for
wave.
some reason, that shit just hit with me for some reason, and I loved that. And then when I moved to North Carolina, a lot of the dudes I worked with were, you know, dudes that rapped, and I made music videos for them. And so that's when like mixtapes were like starting to be a thing.
Yeah.
So like that whole era was like a natural progression, and then slowly I kind of got like back into hardcore, and like the bands that, at least the sound that I really liked, kind of started to come back, and I got deeper into that, and it just, everything was a kind of natural progression for me where I was at in life and what I was doing, and it's nothing ever felt fake, even though I look back and I'm like, the fuck was I wearing? I think all of us do that.
Yeah, all of us do that. Yeah, I was actually, I was with David the other day, and he was just like, dude, yeah, he definitely has done that himself.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say he probably understands more than anybody.
Yeah, he was
but,
just like,
at the time
fuck.
when you're younger, it's like, oh shit, this is cool.
Yeah, no, for real, like
just growing up.
Yeah, like if I watch like old stuff of me, and it's just like I'll have like a purple lace on the right side, and then a fucking a yellow lace on the left. And I'm like, bro, like what the fuck, like. You know what I mean? Like, and at the time, I clearly remember looking in the mirror like, these are sick as fuck, dude. I'm going to kill them today with this shit. This shit's so sick. You're doing your own
thing. I think that's something that kind of everybody in rollerblading knows and realizes is, getting into the scene. It's not like skateboarding. It's not like BMX. It's not like other sports or other communities. You're kind of almost expected to do your own thing. So when you do your own thing, you can do it and be proud of it and be like, fuck yeah, this is cool. I don't got to hide it.
Yeah.
So I've always been very appreciative of rollerblading for that reason, because so much of the stuff that I'm into, the general populace and culture it's not considered cool, Yeah. So to be able to kind of express myself and the things that I'm into has always been a blessing with blading for sure.
For sure. Yeah. But also, it was a... Oh, yeah. I wanted to say just, like, the fact that, like, you just been bald lately. Like, just rocking the bald shit.
That was a change for sure. This is, I've always had hair of some sort. But I was working at that fitness brand that I was at for a while in the middle of nowhere. And I was, like, kind of unhappy, and I knew I wanted to get out and do something different. And I had a barber who, like, I have a widow's peak, and the barber like took my hairline back too far. So with that kind of like 50s hard part layover, if you've got a widow's peak and it's like shaved, it's just like a weird look. Yeah. So the only way was for me to like wear a hat for 3 or 4 months and let that little widow's peak grow the fuck out to the rest of the length of my hair.
Yeah.
Or just start from scratch.
Yeah.
So I went in and I was like, yo, just shave it. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, I am 100% positive. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, dude. I'm like, get rid of that shit.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't know how my head was going to look. I've never been bald, so I didn't know. When they shaved it, I was like, you know what? I was like, I kind of dig this.
Yeah.
Makes life easier. It kind of fits the whole style and shit that I'm into. So.
No, I think it definitely fits you. To be honest, I actually encourage more bald bladers because I feel like being bald and like skating
who I
shit.
saw that just went bald that I want to commend it for, because that man had some wild long hair, is Cody Lamb.
Oh, he's bald?
Yeah, dude, Cody's killing it.
No, he's
posted a photo on Instagram maybe like a month ago, and he was doing a rail, and some weird rail where he's like dropping down to like oop fish on an underrail or something.
Oh, I did see that.
He had like a fucking like overcoat jacket on. Yeah. He shaved his head. I was like,
fuck
he
was
dude.
pretty buzzed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see that. I didn't think about it. He
had some crazy whippy long hair for the longest time.
Yeah, I never met him. I never looked at his hair. But I think the trick itself kind of took...
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to his head. I definitely remember the trick, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back and realize that he was bald. But that's sick.
It's kind of a cool thing because as dumb as it is, it was kind of like a start of a different era for me, because I was like, left that job, doing my own thing in a city that I love being in and around like homies that I've been best friends with for 10 plus years. So it's kind of a cool, almost, I don't want to say style change, because I, still dress the same and into the same shit, but
it's
just kind of a cool thing to do at the time. And I was going to let it grow back, but I keep shaving it every couple days. So
question is being bald and getting like, something close to a goatee going to be the new thing for blading 2018?
Oh, I don't know.
That would be a sick ass phase though.
That would be a weird one, because it would feel like I'm like looking in the mirror.
But how sick would that be?
But like
how sick would that be? A whole bunch of dudes wearing all black, blading through the streets, bald as fuck, and goatees.
That'd be the weirdest feeling.
Tatted and goatees.
Yeah, Derek Henderson and I might have to lay the hammer down on some dudes.
Derek is like my top 3 favorite people to
He's
Bladers.
the fucking dude.
I love his game.
Him and Chad Tannehill.
I've never seen Chad smile. I've never seen him smile. I mean, like, shout out to Chad. Like, I've met him briefly.
Fucking man blading is what I call that.
Yeah.
The 3 of us were joking about me going out to Cali and making a man blading edit for Razors.
Might as well do it, dude. That'd be sick.
It'd be fucking. We were laughing about that. It would be so funny.
Yeah, you should do it.
Both of those dudes just do some wild shit. They go hard.
Yeah, but not only that, but Derek, like, he's like, his style it's fucking crazy. Like, the dude is so solid and so stylish.
Like, his edits first started coming out, and people were like, "Oh, I don't like the way he lands." And I'm like, "Yo, that dude is doing the coolest shit.
Absolutely,
he's doing his own thing.
Yeah,
like you can tell what he's into and that he loves it. He's just like one of those dudes that he has his own thing and he doesn't apologize for it and does it. And those are the type of dudes that I always looked up to growing up in skating. Were the dudes that were unique and did their own thing and didn't, do what was cool just because it was cool. It was just kind of one of those, this is what I'm into. If you don't like it, fuck you. This is what I like.
Yeah. Nah, but Derek's true top souls are underrated.
Dude, he's underrated, period. That dude's amazing.
He is. But
he was very deserving of his Fester wheel when Fester was a thing.
Speaking of Fester, a friend of mine, Kevon Thompson, his mom one day was like, "Hey, my friend's son is a pro rollerblader," and he was just like, "Yeah, okay, mom." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay. And then she came back with a fucking Fester tee, and it signed Damian Wilson, and she was like, "Yeah, his name's Damian Wilson," and I was just like, "Yo, what the fuck?" That was so random. So random, but that whole year was
you never
really
know
random.
what the mom logic could be like. Oh, he's a skateboarder. He's a pro rollerblader.
True. But my mom's actually been pretty good with that. Like she never got that stuff mixed up. So
I have been very lucky with my parents. I mean, obviously my dad was, driving me when I was 14, 15 to other cities and just dropping me off and letting me go. So I've been very lucky with my parents and them being into blading, and they've always been interested, and they kind of keep up with stuff. So if I'm like, so-and-so just dropped a new skate or Bross got one bitter cold, my dad's like, "Oh, yeah, like I saw that come up on Facebook," or like, "Oh, yeah, like I look at roller news." Random. So my parents are really into that shit. So I've been blessed that they're understanding of my lifestyle and what I'm into.
Yeah.
So my mom sure would love to have me living at home for the rest of my life, being an only child. But they're very cool and understanding of me moving all over the U.S. and being a nomad and a starving artist for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it sounds fun. No, but yeah, my mom wasn't that supportive in the beginning. She was kind of...
Have a lot to do with you guys growing up where you grew up?
No, I think it just had to do with, like, she's a big sports fan, and I think, I'm like her only son, so she's like, "You have to play sports because I watch football every Sunday, and I want you to be a part of this." And I was just kind of like, fuck the field, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
basically.
It's like, that's no different than a dad who played baseball wanting his kid to support. Like, I got lucky too in this aspect, but my dad rode motocross and still does for a really long time.
Oh, I've seen those edits, actually.
Yeah, my dad's the fucking shit. He, I can't remember the years. I want to say maybe 93 and 94. He won the Vet World Championships for motocross. So he does it. That's his thing. So, growing up, I grew up at motocross races. I was the little baby under the tent while Dad was fixing the bike before his next race. So that's kind of the scene that I grew up in as a young kid. And then I got really into soccer and basketball growing up. And we kind of thought basketball was going to be my thing. And then I found skating. And when I told my parents that, hey, I'm going to quit playing basketball and sports and I'm just going to do this, there wasn't, I'm sure they were a little upset because we put so much time and effort into basketball. And at that age, I was fairly decent and, played on an AAU team and all that fun stuff. But the fact that they were so cool about it, I think came from my dad riding motocross and him being like, well, if that's what you love, go for it.
Yeah.
And they were always supportive. It was never an issue of, well, we put so much time and effort into basketball, you should only go that route. It was, that's what you like? Cool, let's do it. And he ended up building a skate park on our driveway for me.
Sick.
So, yeah, I've been very blessed with the raddest parents around. I mean, there's dudes in Rochester that I grew up skating with that still ask me how my dad's doing because they remember him bringing me to the skate park and him hanging around and joking around with everybody. So,
sick. Shout out to Nate Hall. He's
my fucking dude.
Yeah, he's cool.
Nate's one of my better friends I've ever met through blading. The fucking Rochester scene is I wasn't born there and I only kind of half grew up there on weekends, but Rochester scene's always going to feel like my home scene to me, and those dudes are the shit. So I think I might be seeing Grant and Tim tonight in Cleveland too. Jimmy Spetz renting out the skate park tonight, and I might drive up there after the photo shoot and see all the homies. So
crazy. Yeah, but I actually I've been in Rochester only once, but my family's actually in Buffalo, so I'd be in Buffalo a lot. That's why I know all those guys.
Know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of low key, but I'm up there here and there.
Well, that's how you know Justin and everybody too. Then.
I learned a lot at X Hall actually, whatever that shit's called.
X Wheels.
Yeah, X Wheels. That's it.
Yeah, dude,
X-Wheels.
that was my favorite park.
Yeah, that park's cool.
I miss that park a lot. Skate Naked here in Columbus is my second favorite, but X Wheels was fucking super rad.
Dude, at X Wheels, Josh Marlinski taught me how to fish brain. Yeah, best style.
Best style.
Easily.
Best style.
Easily.
I think Josh is 2 kids now.
Yeah, he's 2 kids.
And a wife. Yeah, he's killing the life game.
Okay, random. Josh Marlinski, before, like, I think this is back in 2009 or something. I seen the video that they dropped. I think, what is his name? Oh, man. It's like, I see his face, but I just can't remember his name right now. But the guy made a video.
Bartlett?
It's not Kyle Bartlett.
Okay.
It's another guy. Oh, well.
Ricky Coster?
Yes, Ricky Coster. Thank you, Ricky Coster. He made that video. I don't remember what it's called, but it was sick. And I watched it.
All the Buffalo and Rochester homies in it.
Yeah. And I watched it, and I was like, dude, who the fuck? Josh Marlinski had a Quasimodo song. I'm like, this guy is fucking the shit. You know what I mean? So I went to Buffalo, and I was like, yo, Josh, like, I'm here from Cali. Like, let's skate. You know what I mean? Like, I saw your section. That shit was tight. Use a Quasimodo song. I listen to that shit every day. He was
I miss those days.
Yeah, I know,
going
right?
to a city and just hitting somebody up that you saw on the internet. It's so few and far between now.
Yeah, no, I still do that shit here and there. But the crazy thing is, he's like, yeah, I live right here. And I was like, oh, shit, that's literally a block away from me. He lived like down the street, and he just was like, oh, what? He just drove over and picked me up. Like, he lived literally down the street. Like, what are the odds? That shit was crazy.
I had a situation like that. I was home for a little bit before I moved to Baltimore because I had that really bad concussion. And I started dating a girl that I knew from high school. And the night before I moved to Baltimore, a friend of mine it's like the next town over from my hometown, was having a birthday party. And he lived a fucking block away from my girlfriend.
Crazy. And
we had been skating for a couple months at that point, and we never realized, like, every day I was down the street from him. And then the day we realized it, I moved to another state. So shout out to Ryan Brennan. That's my dude. He makes all those crazy little finger skates and shit.
I think I've seen those.
Yeah, that kid loves rollerblading, man. And I feel bad for him at times because he's one of those guys that should be in a bigger city. Because our area is just, there's one or two skate parks that are subpar, and it's hard for him because that dude fucking loves rollerblading, and there's nobody to rollerblade with and nowhere to go. So I think he's gonna end up moving soon, but shout out to him living in our area and still attempting to rollerblade, which is impossible.
That's sick. Yeah, those guys definitely should be. How do you say? Should be
commended.
praised. Yeah, commended. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, my vocab is really low at the moment.
Yeah, I'm feeling that today too. I keep blanking on words. It might be because I'm still going through my coffee right now, but
yeah, I slept for 3 hours. Like,
damn,
I slept
passed the fuck out last night after that shoot.
Damn.
We were out and about in Columbus all day, so
yeah, I slept
do it again tomorrow or today, and skate with the homies tonight. So I'm gonna be passing out tonight too.
Yeah, I actually just moved into like a new apartment now.
I was gonna say, didn't you say you were moving in like April or May?
Yeah, I'm moving to a new room, and I'm gonna be here for a bit. But
nice.
3 hours of sleep, moved all my shit to the west side of Copenhagen, and now I'm just like finally got that done. So I'm just kind of just chilling and just waiting. I don't know. Some dude hit me up right now, so I'm not sure what the plan is. Scott Quinn just hit me up, and David. I'm not sure what they're planning.
Are they? So they're both there with their girls, right?
Dude, getting Danish girls is the new thing, bro. You got to get out here. You got to get out here.
Both of those dudes, Montrade seems like two now.
Oh yeah, he's
everybody's on that.
Yeah, even the homie from Long Beach as well. He got wifed up. He was only here for 2 weeks, and she went to Cali ASAP, and now they're like.
Just breed them like that out in Denmark?
You know what it is? I don't know. Actually, I don't know what it is, but I will say it's like a
more open mentality maybe?
Yeah. And I think it's, maybe like Danish dudes could be kind of reserved. So then like these American guys come through the party and we're just like, ooh, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, yeah, like, just walk up and talk to girls, but, like, you talk to them genuinely, you know what I mean? And they don't really expect a lot from you. Like, they're a bit more independent. And I think that makes dudes just want to stay here because it's like, damn, like, she kind of just wants your company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's like a big deal to me or to other people, too. Like, girls out here are chill. Like, you can hang out with them and then, like, wife them up at the same time. It's like, why not? Like, basically. And not only that, look, you can ask Dave Lang.
It's just funny that so many rollerbladers we know have done this, and it's a thing, and it's working. So obviously it's something.
I'm going to say in 5 years, Copenhagen might be the blade capital. No, not even 5 years, 3 years.
What's weather like there in the winter?
It's cold.
Cold?
But we still out here. I'm still out skating.
Like Rochester, Minneapolis, couple feet of snow cold, or just dropping a little bit in temp cold?
It used to be a lot of snow, but
really?
Out here, global warming is very obvious. I don't know about in the States, but snow out here is...
That's fake, bro. It's not a real thing.
Yeah, fake news. But out here, like, out here, it ain't snowing no more. Not really. Yeah. And everybody's like...
I'm in fucking Ohio right now, and since I moved, it's been 55 or 65 the whole time. In the middle of January and February.
Damn, that's pretty hot.
So I'm not angry about it at all because everybody's been out skating, and I mean, when you're around Hawk Trackler, he's down for anything all the time.
Sick.
So it's been really great, but it is a little sketchy to not see snow in the Rust Belt during the peak of winter.
Yeah, it's like that here too, dude. It's the same shit.
It's very obvious that something is not right. So.
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure the lake used to freeze.
I saw a meme where somebody was like, "Yeah, eating ice cream in February," and then the back of their mind was like, "The world is dying. Fuck."
Damn. Oh well, fuck it. I mean, not fuck it, but you know what I mean.
Not opposed, but fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's gonna be 60 all week here for the next week.
Sick.
And then 50. The homie Chad Anthony is doing his Too Cold to Skate contest in Columbus for the first time.
Nice.
And the weekend that they're having it, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 55 and 60. Even though the contest is going to be called Too Cold to Skate Outside, everybody that's coming is definitely going to be skating outside. So, actually, I'm sure nobody's going to be opposed to. Yeah. But it's funny that happened.
Yeah, actually, on topic with that, I went back to Cali in September, and everyone was telling me at the Forecast Trade Show that, like, those Southern Scum dudes, like his, like Chad and Brad, like, they
dudes that I've been homies with for a very, very long time.
Yeah, everybody only had good things to say about those dudes, and they said
it's that Southern hospitality, but taken to another level. Yeah. Those guys are they're twins, but I've considered them my brothers for a very fucking long time. I think maybe Hoedown in 2007 I met them.
Damn.
I've known them for like 10 years now. So they're very solid dudes. I like that they are proponents of the whole DIY. You know, if you want to do something, just do it yourself and don't wait on other people to do it.
Yeah.
So I've always been a big fan of them doing that with everything from like Southern Scum to the videos they've done and everything. They're just a perfect example of that. Just doing your own thing and doing what the fuck you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody said that those guys were sick, and they said that
good dudes.
They said that they were pulling all the chicks in LA because they got that Southern shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what everybody said. Like
those dudes are very charismatic.
Yeah, because were.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, because apparently, because the homie, like he picked me up from the airport. He's telling me the story, and we're going on the way in Long Beach, and he's like, man. He's like, I almost want to be Southern, like just to go up to the bars and be like, hey, darling, you know what I mean, or whatever. Because that shit works, apparently.
Rollerbladers are the homies. I fucking love everybody in the South. Anytime I hear Kevin Dowling preaching Atlanta or the South, it's hard not to agree with him.
True.
Everybody down there is super rad. Those are some of the best trips I've ever gone on.
I've never been to the South.
It's definitely a different world. Compared to the East Coast or the Midwest or even the West Coast. But the rollerbladers that I've met in the South have always been super rad, and those guys are some of my best friends. So,
sick.
Speaking of, I'm hopefully going to be going back to Nashville in a week or two. So I'm very hyped on that.
Actually, did you see Kevin's post? He said that he's going to start the Dirty Show, I think, again. Or something else. I don't know. But he definitely did say
Jimmy Spence and I were joking with him about doing what was the other thing that him and Jamie did? Footage tape.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy was talking shit and saying that footage tape Cleveland needed to happen, which was pretty funny.
That would be sick. Yeah. Oh, they did like the 5 on it stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Those are sick. And they went to Puerto Rico.
I'm very glad to have him close to us for a couple months because it's been a very long time since I've had sessions with upwards of 10 to 12 people constantly every time I go out and skate, and that's what's been happening in Columbus. So I'm super fucking hyped on that, going from having to drive 2 hours to skate with one person to having 12 people already, already having a session organized and just meeting up. So it's been a very nice change of pace. And I know Kevin's hyped to be around that too, because the Cleveland scene is pretty well organized too.
Sick. Yeah,
Rust Belt's a good spot, man. People always joke that I always come back this way, but there's a reason. Pittsburgh was kind of the first place that ever felt like home. So between Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Columbus, this area is the shit.
For sure. Yeah, man. What time are you going to go up to that photo shoot? Because I'm probably going to have to leave soon.
Hey, do your thing, man. I'm probably going to make breakfast and then meet up with the photographer and then pick up the models and then do our thing for the rest of the day.
Breakfast. I totally skipped, dude. It's almost 4 p.m., dude.
There. It's like 3 or 4 there, right?
Yeah, it's like 3:50.
Yeah, it's 10 here, so I'm doing this crazy like ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
So you like fast until 11 or 12, and then you don't eat past 9 or 10.
Really?
And you get 4 to 5 meals in during that, whatever 10-hour span. So it works for me and my body type and what I eat. So it's like low carbs, high like natural fat from like almonds and olive oil and coconut oil and fun things like that. So sticking with the whole health and bodybuilding shit as much as I can while I'm here and have the opportunity to do it, because I was going super hard with that shit for a while, and I kind of need to get back to a happy medium with that.
Yeah. I'm actually, I need to hit the gym too, dude.
I love it. It's after I got my concussion, the gym was kind of my replacement for skating, because skating, it probably took me about a year and a half to feel comfortable again. And going to the gym was kind of that physical outlet that rollerblading normally gives most of us.
Yeah.
And then to put effort into something like that, and then to see changes immediately, and especially drastic changes for me specifically, going from being a skinny little fuck to putting on a little bit of weight. It's kind of encouraging, because a lot of things you put in a lot of time and effort into, and you don't really get a lot back out of it. So that was the one thing with the gym. It was kind of my escape, and something that I could put effort into and see results.
Sick.
So, and it's still, if I get pissed off or I'm in a bad mood, I can't skate, because I got to skate when I'm in a good mood. If I get pissed off, I go to the gym and throw weight around.
That's dope.
It's the best release.
No, but I think the sickest part about bladers going to the gym is like on leg day, like we fucking ruled the gym, dude.
It was a big joke at the bodybuilding company that I worked for. My bosses were the number one husband and wife couple in bodybuilding, and they would always joke around with me that I barely did legs. They were doing legs 3 times a week, and I'd go once.
Yeah.
That's the big joke in bodybuilding anyway. And I started when it was winter, and when spring and summer hit and I started wearing shorts, a couple of the people that we work with were like, "What the fuck is wrong with your calves?" And I said, 12 years of rollerblading. I do this shit all the time. I don't gotta go to the gym and fucking do calves like you guys do, because I'm set. So
yeah,
I definitely say that lifting weight, not just working out, but bodybuilding and weightlifting specifically, changed my skating immensely for the better.
Sick.
So gaining all that weight had definitely a good effect on my style. I feel much more solid.
Nice.
On things, and it's great. So
yeah, and also I encourage bladers who don't go to the gym, just go to the gym and just work out your legs and be surprised how much you can actually do.
Man, you can do your own thing. You don't have to do one specific thing. You don't have to do one specific routine or exercise or type of thing. Like it's great. And a lot of the dudes that I was working with were either a super crazy life-changing diet and bodybuilding routine, or they were powerlifters. And for me, neither of those things worked with me and skating and my lifestyle. So I kind of found my own thing that worked for me, and it's great. It makes me happy. I know dudes speaking to Nate Hall. Nate does a lot of yoga. It fucking works for him very well, because the jobs he's been working the past couple years, he hasn't been able to skate as much as he would like to. But I know the yoga kind of keeps him sane and intact for when he does skate. So finding something that works for you and your body it's a really good feeling.
For sure. Yeah, man. Is there any last things you want to say though?
Not really. I'm excited to hear who you talk to next.
Sick. Thanks, dude.
I'm digging this. We need more things like this, and people doing, random homie videos and different projects, because I don't think skating is going to grow unless we kind of create things. So when people do see our community, they're like, "Oh shit, look at all this cool stuff that's happening."
Very true.
As opposed to the mentality of rollerblading's in the worst spot it's ever been. Why bother?
Yeah.
So I say fuck that mentality and you know, just do shit because you want to do it. And then when people come into the scene and they see that things are going on, it's only going to help us.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
So I say do more podcasts, talk to more homies,
We'll
more content from everybody, make more edits, everybody.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for doing this with me, dude.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I mean, you've been, like you were saying, you and I have been fans of each other for a while and kind of have the same mentality on a lot of shit, so it was cool to talk.
Definitely, man. Yeah, dude. Hopefully you can be out here in Copenhagen soon, man. Just let me know.
No, you and I are going to be discussing that more over Facebook Messenger because that's a plan that is already in my mind for the next few months. So
Sick.
I'll be seeing you soon.
Definitely, man. Definitely. All right, man. Well, look, looking forward to seeing that Lumen shoot.
Yeah, dude, we got some cool shit. I'm excited.
Sick. All right, man. But, dude, thanks again. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, brother. I'll hit you up soon. Have a good one.
Peace. You too.
Later.
Right.